Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. My name is Pat Nagel. I am your host, and I am with Damon Burrow from Golf EQ. This is the Golf EQ podcast, where we are talking all things about the Golf EQ website, what's going on, the testing that we've been doing, what's coming up in the future. So if that interests you, please do subscribe and check out the website at www.golf-eq.com, where you could find all answers and even take some quizzes on what clubs are going to work for you. Today, we are continuing our discussions about fairway woods and the testing that we've been doing. Damon's had some time on working on that with his team. So Damon, why don't you tell us a little bit what's been going on with that and where things are headed?
Yeah, thanks, Pat. So like you said, we're kind of, getting into the depths of fairway wood testing. We've had over 10 models now that have been fully tested. I think we're going to get somewhere between 15 and 20 for the total models. And then that's the number of clubs. And then we've got a few of those at several different lofts. And then we've also been testing at various lies and links and things like that to try to really nail down on each one of those variables that are really important for player performance, but that players may not be independently evaluating themselves or may not have time to in their kind of club fits. So it's been really great. It's been really eye-opening. I mean, fairway woods are, and we kind of knew this going in, but fairway wood fitting is incredibly challenging. It's often one of the very last spots of the golf bag that a player kind of gets right and feels comfortable with. So going through this elaborate process with each one of our testers and kind of each one of the golfers that we bring in on a regular basis has been pretty eye-opening. I mean, the number of people who have fit into the traditional 15-degree fairway wood loft, I would say, is fewer than the number of people who have needed slightly less or slightly more than that. So, I think a lot of the people that are going and grabbing that 15-degree 3-wood off the shelf and thinking this is automatically going to be good for my game just because I play a 10-degree driver or, whatever, is I think they're leaving some significant performance gains on the table simply because that's just probably not going to be their absolute best fairway wood fit.
Yeah, and I would say most people are not even looking at the loft. They're just saying, I need a 3-wood, and they're grabbing, whatever same brand of driver they have or keeping it consistent. So, which I totally get. But what lofts have been best for people so far? Like, what would you say? Or
Yeah, it's variable is the truth. So a lot of it depends on intent, like we talked about before, how often that player is going to be using that club from the tee versus how often they're going to be using that club from the turf changes kind of their ideal loft setting, and then also kind of what the blend is. Typically, if you, depending on the club head, some fairway come stock at 14.5 degrees. So, that's already a little bit different than the 15 degrees that is most common. Some people have found really great success around that 14 to 14.5 degree threshold. Some players need to go all the way up to 16.5 or 17 degrees. And when I say that, I mean, they're hitting the 16.5 and 17 degrees further than they're hitting the 15 degrees on average. Every once in a while, they'll get the longer one, their longest, if you will, with 15 degree, but their average, it's down to launch and spin. So basically, unless you have enough speed and you're trying to hit a 3-wood that, is a somewhat longer club, is a little bit hard to hit in the middle, and the face isn't as big as a driver, people do not launch it high enough and with enough spin to keep that 15 degrees in the air. And less loft gives you more options for curvatures offline. So what ends up happening is you actually hit the 16 to 17 degree fairway wood higher, longer, and straighter. And then so inevitably that ends up being a much better fit for you than, the 15 degrees that you probably were playing before.